Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, 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 and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this live broadcast. And tonight, in this video, I want to give you 4 easy ways to reduce or curb your food cravings. So this video is for anybody who has a tough time with just making sure you don't give in to those cravings that you might have, those cravings for the bad foods, the sweets, the chips, the other poor food choices that you might make and that your body craves, right? Sugar cravings, that's a big one. So before we get into it, I'm just going to turn that off because now you know who I am. I am Tony Jacobsen, the author of Disable Your Disability. And let's get right into it, okay? So I'm going to do a Q&A after I kind of cover these 4 topics. So if anybody is watching live, please post your questions in the live chat, which I will need to get going here once we get further on. But let's get right into it, okay? So here's 4 easy ways to kind of curb or reduce your cravings for certain foods. All right, the number one thing that you want to do is you want to time your meals. Now, what this means is that you want to think about your day from the time you wake up into the time you go to sleep, and you want to time out your meals so that you don't ever get hungry. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're eating something kind of throughout the day. They say every 3 to 4 hours. Some people say even every 2 to 3 hours. And whatever it is for you as far as how you will make sure you don't get hungry, because when you hit that hungry state, that is a recipe for disaster, because what could happen is you could easily give into cravings that are not good for you, and your body is going to really want those cravings at that point. So you want to time out your meals so that you don't ever get hungry. This also helps to keep your metabolism burning throughout the day, and that's super important because you want to keep your metabolism going so that you're continuously burning fat and using calories. So with that said, also make sure that you're staying within your calories, within your calorie counts that you might be doing for the day. If you do count your calories or your caloric intake that is necessary for you, you want to make sure that as you're eating throughout the day and as you're timing your meals, you know, each meal is appropriate as far as numbers are concerned for your calories and for your macronutrients, your proteins, carbs, and fats. So make sure that you're getting all 3 of those in a good ratio, your macronutrients in each meal, and that you're making sure that you're not going over your food, your caloric intake needs that you might have, okay? So that's number 1. You want to time out your meals so that you don't get hungry. I also want to point out with this is that that goes for drinking water also. Now, some people will tell you, oh, you know, don't drink until you're thirsty, right? But you want to make sure that you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Doesn't matter if you're thirsty. If you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So you want to make sure that you're drinking water throughout the day, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, what you want to do is, this goes especially for people that are actually on like a certain meal plan and you're on a certain, I like to say diet. It's a meal plan, right? It's a way of, you're in the process of getting healthier and you've changed the way you're eating and you're hitting a certain amount of calories per day and per week, right? So what you want to do is, number 2, is you want to have a cheat meal. Now, what a cheat meal does as far as cravings are concerned is number 1, it gives you the ability to actually give into those cravings 1 meal every single week. Now, for me, I do cheat meals, not cheat days. A lot of people do cheat days, and that's too much. You want to do a cheat meal. Cheat meal is 1 meal once a week, okay? And you eat that meal within 1 hour of time, and you eat whatever you want. Now, what this does is, most of the time when we do cheat meals, we will go for those things that we crave. We'll go for the pizzas, we'll go for the pastas, we'll go for, you know, crazy foods that we're not eating during the week. So do it. Have a cheat meal. Give yourself and your body this cheat meal. you're going to, like I said, you're going to give into that craving, which is good because then your body can get the taste. And then also it's going to kickstart your metabolism. It's going to give you, give your metabolism extra, right? And it's going to tell it that it needs to keep moving throughout the week. And it's gonna really jumpstart it so that it keeps burning and even burns more calories and more fat. Okay, so cheat meals, super important, super important. I don't want people to ever not do a cheat meal. Okay, so that's number 2. Number three, as far as our 4 ways to reduce cravings, number 3 is to think of and eat alternatives to the cravings. So this could be, I'll use an example that I do. I love ice cream, right? And I really enjoy, like recently, we've been starting to eat frozen yogurt at Yogurtland and some other places around Los Angeles. But my big thing is ice cream. Like I love ice cream as a treat. So an alternative for me is to eat Halo Top ice cream. And Halo Top is made differently. It's actually kind of healthy for you. A lot less sugars and a lot less of the bad stuff, fats and everything. And the calories are super low. So what I do is to give into that craving of ice cream, I will eat, my light's going crazy. I hope that's not showing on the video. Anyway, so what I will do is I'll have Halo Top, because then what that does is that gives into my craving of having ice cream, and it's way less calories. Now, and then I don't have to eat as much, right? So that's one thing with like Halo Top, they use a sugar alcohol, and that's not necessarily good for your stomach. It even says it, like on most packagings that have sugar alcohols, it'll say don't eat too much of it because that kind of acts as a laxative, and that you definitely don't want to be having through your system too often. So it's a good alternative to have instead of, eating too much sugar, but you don't want to eat too much of it. So for me, like my alternative to ice cream is a Halo Top. And another thing that my wife has introduced is just having plain yogurt with yummy flavoring on top. So we use honey, or we've started to use like a strawberry preserve. We also just got an organic blueberry preserve, which is really good, and it's low in sugar. So, these are great alternatives so that you still can fulfill that craving for a sweet, but you're doing it with less calories and with something that is healthier for your body. So that's number 3. Think of an alternative for the craving. So even with like chocolate, if your craving is chocolate, have dark chocolate and have just a little bit of it, like one little square. Really, like don't take it away, give into the craving, but do it in an alternative way that's better for you. So that's number 3. All right, number 4. Now this has to do not necessarily with the food side of it or with the biological side of it, but it has to do with the mental side of it. And I talk about it in the book a little bit in a chapter about relapsing and recovery, and I call it the moment of truth. And this is the moment where you're at the refrigerator or at the pantry and you're about to reach for that food, right? At the moment of truth, you want to stop yourself. And this is the 4th thing that you can do. You need to think about it. You need to stop yourself and think logically about it. Do you want this food? Or do you need this food, right? So once you can kind of just stop yourself and start to think about it a little bit, you'll realize that you're just going for it because you want it, right? Your craving is telling you, I want this food. I want these chips. I want this ice cream. I want this candy. But if you stop yourself and you say, well, do I need this? Do I really need this in my life right now? The answer is going to be no. And you're not going to eat whatever that food is. So this is a great way to kind of stop yourself before you even get to it. So that's a full-on like mental task, right? So those are the 4 ways to do it. 4 ways to reduce your cravings, reduce your food cravings. All right. Number 1 was to time your meals. I have notes down here. That's why I keep looking down here. Number 1 is to time your meals out so that you don't get hungry, right? Number 2 is to have a cheat meal. during the week. Number 3 is to think of alternatives to those foods, bad foods that you crave. And then number 4 is to stop yourself and think about, do you need it or do you just want it? And when you realize that you just need it, or that you're wanting it and that you don't need it, you're not going to eat it. All right. So, oh yeah, one other point I wanted to make about that was that, especially if you're a person that counts calories and pays attention to all your macronutrients and stuff, when you get into that world of needing it, right? When you say, do I really need this? You're going to realize, you probably hit your numbers for the day, or you've hit your numbers for sugar or whatever the macronutrients are. And that even helps more for you to stop and not eat it. So those are the 4 things. I would really love to do a Q&A. I don't know if people are watching. Let me just jump on here real quick and get to the page. And I want to see if anyone's in the live chat. If you're in the live chat, you've posted questions. I appreciate it. And if you're in right now, go ahead and post questions and I can answer them for you. I would love to answer them for you. So let's see. It's just coming up right now. And I don't see any questions. Oops. All right. I don't see any questions happening, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found some value in this, and I hope that you will do whatever you can to, employ these 4 ideas to reduce or curb your cravings for those bad foods. Don't forget, please subscribe to the channel. Here's some other videos that I have done recently. Enjoy those, and I appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.